I'm Kyle.
And I'm Scott.
This is Crushing Trails.
And drinking ales.
So we're only a week away from Barkley Fall Classic. Scott, let's talk about what's happened since our last video. We talked about training and everything then, but what's the last little bit looking like for you?
Yeah, so I've been pretty consistent with training this block, but did hit a little bit of a snag in early August. We had a family vacation that we were taking prior to the kids starting school. I purposely, tried not to run too much while we were on vacation. So had a couple maintenance runs in there, but was, kind of keeping volume low. And then the plan was to come back from that and then, bring volume back up and kind of like get into the meat of the training. Unfortunately, a couple days after I got back, I went out on my long mountain bike ride because I've been kind of alternating weeks. And within, I don't know, probably less than 15 minutes of that ride, I was talking to my buddy I was riding with, and my pedal clipped a root that was kind of sticking up on the trail. And I went over the bars and into the brush and got pretty banged up. I had some aches and pains, but overall it was kind of like whatever. I finished out a 3 hour ride, didn't think too much of it, and then the next day I woke up and my quad, which didn't bother me at all on the ride, my left quad was insanely sore. So I took a day off, and then the next day I tried to go out for like just an easy 3 mile run to kind of test things, and I got a mile out and ended up walking the last 2 miles of that run because I was in so much pain from that wreck. So just when it started to start feeling better, I got COVID. That kind of knocked me out for a few days. Luckily, this time around, COVID only lasted like 3 days, but then the bad part of it only lasted about 3 days. But then I had a few days after that where my heart rate was still going through the roof anytime I tried to do anything. So I was still able to get out on some runs. I went to the gym and did some treadmill work and that kind of stuff, but I definitely had to lower the intensity. It is what it is. I got through that mid August till now. I've been very consistent. I've been going to the gym, 2 times a week to do treadmill work, stair climber, doing, intervals on, 12+% grade, and been getting in some running. We've actually gotten some decent weather from time to time in Texas, which is very welcome this time of year because we don't normally get it. Overall, training's been pretty good, other than that couple weeks of wreck and COVID and that kind of stuff. But Kyle, I mean, how's it been going for you? You got COVID too, didn't you?
I did not have COVID. I ended up with strep throat actually at one point, which was kind of random. But yeah, no. So I had that was a while back, but still kind of did affect the training. I kept running through because I have to keep up the daily streak. So, and I'm also trying to hit the 2,500 on the year, which is like 7 miles a day. It's pretty stressful trying to keep that up. Yeah, there's people like Andy Glaze doing 100 miles a week, so who am I to say anything? I ended up taking a trip home to Wisconsin, and I thought that I would be getting in all sort of mileage when I was there, hitting like the local trails and stuff, but I really hardly did anything in that time.
And I'm guessing because you were in Wisconsin, you probably had a few spotted cows.
Well, the spotted cows were flowing, and it probably affected the overall run volume that I was trying to do. After I got back from Wisconsin, I have hit some good long runs that I'm happy with. They've been on the road, unfortunately. I really haven't been on the trail like I would like to be. A couple back-to-back weekends of 20 miles plus, so I'm happy with that. But overall, I'm really happy with the fact that I've kept up my strength training this time around. Waking up in the morning, doing push ups like I said I would, squats, lunges, things like that throughout my runs. So I feel like this time around, I've kind of committed more to that aspect than I ever have.
Yeah, good call, man. That's one thing I actually forgot to even mention is, I'm terrible at staying consistent with strength work. I probably would have preferred to, be able to get a couple days, maybe even 3 days a weekend, but I've been pretty consistent with at least one day a week of strength training at the gym. A lot of times 2 days a week, but I've definitely like through this entire training block, other than when we were on vacation and stuff. I've stayed consistent with strength training, which I'm hoping is gonna pay off.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the missing factor, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But one of the things that happened recently while I was doing some work was I put my leg into, I specifically put my left quad as well into a sturdy piece of furniture. In fact, it was an ice plunge, which to me is kind of funny. The irony there being that these things are supposed to help your muscles, and I was busy just whacking it on it. So as a result, I injured myself. I kind of tested it out following that, but I think things are okay.
Which is kind of hilarious that we both managed to injure our quads during training.
Sometimes you have to deal with the unexpected. And I think something that's kind of unexpected, if we're going to transition a little bit here, is the prison start for BFC this year. So we've always been at the campground, at least for the times I've ever done it. That's been the starting point. And now we're going to have things a little shaken up. So we're going to be starting at the prison. What are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, it's last, so who knows what's gonna happen. But I don't feel like. I mean, we're not really revealing everything. I think anybody that knows anything about the race knows that Ratjaw is kind of the base of Ratjaw is at the prison. With the amount of people in this race, I don't feel like Laz can send everybody through the prison and up Ratjaw, or even straight onto Ratjaw, without basically no finishers other than maybe the first few, because it would be such a bottleneck.
I just picture everyone at the ladder trying to cross, like people kicking each other off, trying to get up over the other person. Not that anyone would, it's just my visual.
I mean, even that initial like entrance onto Radjaw is like a little precarious, and like every time I've been there, it's been like kind of one person at a time because it's even kind of sometimes slick even when it's dry because it's loose dirt.
As you're climbing up, it feels like you're just sliding back down.
I mean, it's Laz, so maybe he's sadistic enough to just go for it and send us all up there. But there's a couple different routes out of there. Um, I personally feel like, and I don't have any insight, obviously, but I think he's going to send us out on the road and over to Meth Lab and Testicle Spectacle, that area of the course, and kind of do that section, and then kind of come back. I don't really know, but I do, for some reason, that's kind of what I feel like is going to happen at the beginning of the race.
I think we have a similar theory because it makes the most sense. It could spread out a bit on the road and the trail before it hits, the steep climbs. That to me makes the most sense. But then the question is, what happens if that is the case when we come back? So obviously, people will be funneling through the prison and then going up Ratjaw potentially. But you've actually done a different section.
Yeah, so there is another option. I mean, there is a like a Jeep road that kind of goes around the backside of like Ratjaw and the fire tower, and so we could come. He could actually start us up that and send us into Frozen Head proper, or we could go kind of out to Meth Lab, that area, come back, and instead of going up Ratjaw, we could kind of take that road up. Um, who knows, to be honest, but there are a number of ways that he could kind of configure that. Obviously we know at some point we're going to end up in the park, but I guess we're definitely not going to be starting on Chimney, which has been one of the routes we've started on multiple years or whatever. But the other interesting part with it being a start at the prison, is we also assume it's going to be a finish at the prison, um, is what happens at decision point. Where's that at, and what's the final loop?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second year I did it, I believe it was, the decision point was like at the prison, basically at the base of Ratcha. One of the times that I missed the decision point, I have three of them. It is a good question. I mean, obviously he's going to send us through the park, and you mentioned in Chimney Top. Now it has me thinking about like some sort of Chimney Top out and back. Are we going to go down it and come back up it? Or are we going to go down and then take a different route out? I mean, obviously nobody knows, and that's the fun of this race, is until the day before when we undo the twine and get to see what's there that we'll actually know. So it's all speculation up until then. But I feel like with the prison start, we do have some sort of idea of how it could go, and we're probably wrong.
Yeah, I feel like there's less, unless, I mean, who knows? Maybe Laz has figured out something or got some agreements to go somewhere completely different. But I feel like there's more limited options leaving and coming into the prison than when you're in the park proper. So who knows? But I don't know. I have a feeling that the final loop, if you make decision point, is somehow going to involve going up Ratjaw. But again, I have no insight. I don't know. That's just a feeling I get. But it also depends on where decision point is, right? Because if decision point is at the prison, then it's very easy to have to go up Ratjaw. But I've also, the first time I ever ran this race, decision point was not by the start finish. If he does decision point somewhere else, that could completely negate anything we're talking about. Because, like I said, when I missed decision point that first year, I actually had there was no buses, there was no sag wagon, there was none of that. He basically was like, "Oh, you're not going to do the last loop? Okay, have fun hiking back to the start finish line."
And that's the thing is like you had a different decision point than the start, like near the start finish, and I had one that was over near the prison. So no one really knows what's gonna happen. And the year I was at the decision point was at the start finish and I missed it, had to get on the bus, so I like bolted over to catch it before it was taking off, and I wasn't feeling too good. So like I had a bag with me, like ready to throw up. And the guy next to me is trying to have conversation because apparently he was feeling good. Not me. I was just like ready to like just get me back to the campground. But if there is no campground involved, I feel like the end probably has to be near the prison.
But again, we're not going to know anything until the day before. So who knows?
That's part of the race. You don't know anything. But something we do know is that the day after the race, Scott and I are going to be at MoCo Brewing Company the moment they open. And if you're out there and you want to enjoy a beer, come and join us.
Absolutely. MoCo opens at 1 p.m. On Sunday, the day after the race. And we're going to be posted up like it's Black Friday at the door when they open. And we're going to go hang out for a while. So would love to, hang out with people, share some war stories from the race, and just have a good time. I mean, everyone hopes we get a Croy, but there's going to be some DNFs. There's going to be some marathon finishes, which is also a DNF, by the way.
3-time DNFer right here. I'll gladly take them. No, I won't gladly. I will have taken them because it's all I've gotten.
Regardless of what happens, we're all going to have a great time out there, even if you get stung by hornets or whatever else happens out there.
You know what? That's a quick aside. I've actually never had any yellow jacket issues in the entire time I've been there. Like, I know that they are a thing out there, but like I've never run into the yellow jackets that like people claim are there.
I have also never run into yellow jackets, and I've never run into poison ivy or poison oak, which people have complained about too.
I feel like we just put something bad out in the universe. So this is our yellow jacket and poison ivy or oak year. So hopefully not.
But one thing I can tell you I'm going to run into is a beer at MoCo on Sunday.
And do you know why?
Why is that, Kyle?
Because we love to crush trails
and drink ales. See you guys next weekend.
Woo! BFC. It's like Christmas, baby.